What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of At Home with Mark. Is season 10, episode 10. So, Benjamin, this is probably cool that I got sick the first time because now you're an even 10 and 10.
Yep, this is exactly what I felt like 10 minutes ago.
Right? So we have master craftsman luthier Benjamin Paldacci on the show. We're going to talk about your guitars. And then I know that you're a fan of electric stuff too, so we'll have to get a little bit into the electric guitar world, if you don't
Yeah.
mind. But thank you for making some time to do this, and thanks for being understanding and rescheduling this too.
Oh, you're welcome. I know. I think everyone know how it is to be sick, like a dog, and yeah,
Dude, yeah, that
totally.
was rough. I mean, that was my wife and I were both. It was the whole month of February, man. That just sucked. It was awful. Yeah.
Ah.
But fine now. So knock on wood. Um, so let's talk a little bit about I mean, I always ask this question in the beginning, but like what is your earliest like musical memory? Doesn't have to be necessarily with guitar, but like what is the earliest memory you have where music entered your soul?
I remember my father is a good guitarist. So in my family, we always had music and guitars. He started when he was a teenager. I think he started to play guitar at like 15, and he bought at 19 a classical guitar. So it's I think he bought it. He is from 59. So in the 70s. So we still have this guitar, and my mom have a guitar too. And the first memory I remember, we were super young with my sister, and my mom told to her, Fanny, so her name is Fanny. Fanny, don't touch this guitar, not her. And boom, she made a hole in the guitar. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I have some pictures of me with my father. I was like maybe 3 with the guitar on my knees, and
Okay.
yeah,
Okay,
I
so
was
it's
lucky
been
to grow in this family with music and culture, and we've always visit museums and this kind of things.
okay. So guitar has been part of your life your whole life then.
Yeah.
Man, that's crazy. So I didn't have that. I wish I would have had that in my life that early because that really kind of shapes it shaped who you are
Mhm.
today, which is interesting. So was classical guitar, was that the first thing that you started playing, like when you first started playing the instrument?
Yep, and funny thing, I've always been uh, reluctant. I don't know if it is the word to in English. I didn't want to learn to play instruments because my parents tried to put me behind the piano because we have a piano in the family, and I was like, no, it's too complicated, and I've always had some confidence issues when I was young, and I've started to play guitar at 19, in fact. So
Oh, okay.
yep, pretty late, and I think my true memory related to that, I've listened the Offspring album Americana
Mhm.
when it came up, and I was like, oh my god, this is so sick. But I think I was like 12 back in the days. Yeah, 12 or 13, because it came up in 99, if my memory is good. So I was like, oh my god, it is so sick. But yeah, you know how it is. Yeah, you need to start to play guitar not with electric but with steel string or classical, because you need to work with your fingers, and yeah, so I was like, no, I don't want to play guitar because classical suck.
I think
And
it's
yeah,
funny
but
that
I started with the guitar my father had when he was a teenager. So and after that, I've started to play electric guitar, but like shortly after that, like a couple of months after started to play guitar. So yeah, my first guitar was a Gibson Les Paul standard, Honey Burst. I remember, so it's pretty like luxury. first instrument, but I was like, my God, it is so cool. And Gibson, Jimmy Page, Led Zepp,
Mm-hmm,
he's
mm-hmm.
the guy.
Yeah, that's funny. It's interesting to me that you were like, no to the piano, it's too complex. And then like playing classical guitar to me seems so different. In a different way, it's more complex to me
Yep.
than playing piano. As somebody who also plays piano, it's like I can't even fathom playing classical pieces.
Mhm.
It's not even in my wheelhouse, anywhere near my wheelhouse. So to think about, the guitar versus the piano and the complexities involved, and you're like, nah, maybe not that, but maybe this,
Yeah.
that's very, very interesting. So tell me a little bit about like what music was on in the house growing up. Like, I know you just mentioned, Zeppelin and Offspring and everything, but like what else was going on in the household? Like what was your dad exposing you to?
A lot of classical, jazz. I remember his favorite album is the Good Book by Armstrong. Um, he's an he always liked great music and great sound systems. So his dream was to have home cinema. It was his dream. So, and he got one, but he was like 50, I think. I was a teenager back in the day when he got that. But he always had an vinyl platin and good speakers and all this stuff. So a lot of French music because I'm French. So
Right.
Richard Gottener, Beaudommage, but Beaudommage is from Quebec, Canada, where I live now. A lot of French, Jean-Jacques Goldman, but he have the album of Al Di Meola, Paco de Lucia, and the third one, the live at San Francisco. And when I've heard that, it was like I think we all everyone who listened this album is like that. It's mind blowing. And but yeah, when I started to buy my own music, it was Led Zeppelin, Hendrix, Pink Floyd, and still this case today. But today it's Joel Andres, Ariel Posen, and all some good
Well,
stuff. But yeah, all the music from the 60s, 70s, we all know that. And I know these are references you have to, because you are like super good guitarist.
well, I will tell you the interesting thing that I'm finding right now, because my daughter is a teenager, and what I'm seeing happen in her like friend groups and stuff, and what I can see across the board is when we were young, like when I was in middle school, well, first of all, that was right in the grunge scene. So, I mean, I was
Mhm.
steeply, steeply, deeply, deeply entrenched in Pearl Jam and Nirvana and Soundgarden and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Alice in Chains, and the list goes on. But what I can see happening is like for us at that age, Zeppelin and Pink Floyd and the Grateful Dead and all this other stuff was becoming more front focused for me in terms of like going backwards to see,
Mhm.
what were these musicians into? Like Mike McCready was a huge, Hendrix and Stevie Ray
Yeah.
Vaughan nut, but I didn't know that. I didn't even know who those cats were. I didn't know who Hendrix was when I
Mhm.
first found Pearl Jam. I mean, I was 11. You know what I mean? So like when I found out, oh well, he listened to this guy and Hendrix listened to this guy and this guy, and it goes back and back and back. What I'm seeing happen now is those kids, the generation now in middle school, like the grunge stuff
Mhm.
is becoming like the Zeppelin, which is so terrible. Makes me feel so old. But like it's almost like, they're starting with that because that's classic rock in a way, which makes me so sad. But and then, I'm driving around and playing Zeppelin for my daughter. Like if you wanna hear a rock band that influenced all this other rock and roll music, like listen to this,
Yeah.
but it is strange, like the cyclical nature of the music industry and what happens and how it propels through time. And it probably will never stop. Like Zeppelin and the Beatles, like all that stuff until the earth explodes will
Yeah.
still be a thing, you know?
Yeah, and it was the case for the Stones, for the Beatles. Well, especially the Stones, all the British blues, sorry, with John Mayall, Clapton, and all these guys. All the segregation and racism back in the days. I remember. I think it was BB King, uh, who he was like, these white guys were coming at our concerts, and we were like, what is happening? And they were inviting them to England, in Europe, and they were like, oh my god. And it is the same thing today with, uh, but not the racism and segregation, but like you said, it's a circle. And I think, yeah, it will go on and on and on. And it is the beauty of this thing,
Hmm.
because when these black guys were like, oh my god, they they they, they are playing our music, and the
Right.
insane.
I'm still doing it, man. Like
Yeah.
as far as like music at its core, what I love, it's mostly black music. It's like the music that is, really kind of rich in those old gospel hymns and things like that. Like I'm not a religious person, and I told my wife, if we ever went to church, I would want to go to like a really hip, like Baptist church that
Mhm.
has amazing music, and like that's what I would want to be around if I wanted to be around a religious community. Um, but it's so true, man. It's like all those cats, like the Beatles included, which some people may not know how much Black American music
Yeah.
influenced them. Um, well, let's kind of talk a little bit about. We might as well start the arc of this conversation through your journey with getting a Les Paul, because I'll tell you right now, Benjamin, I have Les Paul fever right now.
Ooh.
Dude, I had when I first my first like nice electric guitar was like a Gibson Studio that I bought with
Mhm.
my own money. It was black, it had chrome hardware.
Nice.
No frills. I mean, there's no flame, there was nothing like that. But I have really been wanting to get a Les Paul, probably two. I want to get one with P90s and one with humbuckers
Mhm.
at some point. But it's a guitar that has haunted me, that has left my stable long ago. I mean, I sold that. Put it this way, I sold it probably in 2002. And what did I buy with that money? I bought a Klon Centaur for $300.
Oh,
Um,
not
and then
bad.
I sold that Klon in 2015 for $1,500. And I should have held on to it a little bit longer. But my point is, I've been a Strat guy and a Tele guy my whole life. But what drew you to the Les Paul, minus Jimmy Page? Like,
Mhm.
what did you like about that instrument?
Well, depending which version of Page, is it the early one with the free pickup custom, or
Mhm.
the burst 58, 59?
Right. Well, what was your guitar? What was that Honeyburst? Was it just a two humbucker instrument?
Yep. Yep, it was
Okay.
a standard, 2005, if I remember good. And I bought it brand new because one of my friend had a music shop in France, in Lyon, because I grown in Lyon, for a couple of years. But after that, I was on forums, and the gas accusation syndrome, and oh yes, I want a custom shop, I want a 59, and all this stuff is like, yeah, I will sell my guitar and I will lose money, but I don't care because I want this gold top. Or it is ridiculous when we are thinking about that. But yeah, I wanted to have the burst 59 like Page, but I don't remember. He have two, right? A 58 and a 60, or 59. Maybe 58 and 59. I think he had the one
Okay.
from Walsh, Joe Walsh. He refined the neck because he was not. It was too thick for him. Um, and yeah, I think. And I had my first amp, tube amp, was a Cornell 4550.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it was a dual amp, One channel was Plexi and the other one was like a GTM 45. Amazing amps.
Sounds like
The
it.
boutique from England, and but super strong, like 50 watts.
It's a lot. It's loud
Yeah,
for a
yeah,
first amp. That's pretty loud.
yeah. But I think the and I so it is something we all know about the lottery. To choose a guitar, to pick a guitar, you don't buy a guitar at Sweetwater, especially a Les Paul, because it's like you need to try, but you know that. But I think Gibson electrics they are making great instruments, seriously. But right now with the tariffs and all the thing, it's like super expensive.
Yeah,
it,
dude.
it, it always has been super expensive, but right now, like for custom shops, the Tom Murphy, all this stuff, it's like 10K
Yeah.
Les Paul.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I know, dude. It's way. I mean, I can't afford that, but you know what I was looking into, and I actually talked to my buddy today, who's like a Les Paul aficionado, is the heritage stuff.
Oh yeah,
And I've heard so many people say how great those guitars are and how they like destroy the stuff that Gibson's putting out right now.
I got one.
Oh, you did? Okay. Did
Yeah.
you have an H150?
No, it was an ES
Oh, okay.
335
Okay.
red one, and it was like in 20 27, 28, something like that. So
Oh, okay.
it was this stuff pre 2010, but super good instruments,
Okay.
super great craftsmanship, and better than Gibson.
Okay.
To be honest, it's like comparing a luthier instrument and a company instrument. You know, you can't. They are not playing this in the same ground. You know, because if I remember good enough, it was Gibson closed their I don't remember when they did that, but they closed the
Kalamazoo plant.
exactly, and
Right.
the team back in the days bought everything back, and they started Heritage.
Yeah.
So it's like guitars made in these old machines. So it's much so sexy, you know. It's the storytelling is like awesome, but I know it's not a Les Paul. The headstock is different, but well,
Some people hate on that headstock hard too, man. Like there's a lot of hate for that headstock.
I
But
was like that. I
yeah.
sold the guitar because of that. Yeah.
Man, it's funny because I've heard a lot of people talk about though the design of that guitar. Um, there's a lot more tuning stability because of the way that the neck breaks at the top on a
Yep.
Gibson compared to their Heritage. So there's a lot more ease to slide through the nut a little bit better. So I mean, I've heard, you know, there's reasons, and I didn't love. I'll be honest, man. Like I didn't love my Josh Williams headstock until I had it for a minute, and I was like, I like it. I like it a lot. But I, you know, for people who are purists, I can see how like the Gibson headstock is the headstock that they want, and that's fine, you know. But man, there is a lot of hate for that Heritage headstock, unfortunately.
Yeah. And I don't know how they are building their headstock. I don't know if it is a scarf joint or if it is a one-piece neck. Because if it is a scarf joint, this is what I do. It is much more solid than the Gibson stuff. Because when you are taking, well, I can make a demonstration with the neck I have here.
Let's do it.
Up. Okay, so we have a neck. So if you have a one piece neck, the grain of the wood will be like that, and it will be the same. The point of breakage is here, because when you are doing a scarf joint, you are reglue the headstock to get a very solid joint, to make it simple. When you have a one piece Gibson, they don't have any volute. here. This is a volute. So they have like a very, very thin thickness in terms of wood, and with the truss rod, it will break here because it is too thin. And this is a design that Gibson have, but you know how people are. It's like before. It's like in the 60s. It is better. We all know the story of the Gibson headstock crack because it fell.
Right.
Yeah, and it's sad, but I understand the companies, they don't want to change that because they have customers, and these customers, they want that.
Mhm.
So it is one of the thing when you are a luthier, you can, when you are working for yourself, like I do in my workshop, you can do your own choices, and if you can explain these choices and be like, okay, this is what I chose, it is good, believe me. And the person like plays the guitar, is like, okay, I can live with that. And if the luthier say it is good, it's good.
Right.
It is just a question of trust, in fact. And
Mhm.
Josh Williams, exquisite instruments.
Oh
And
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I love it. Yeah, I mean, I love that guitar. I'll never sell that guitar.
Yeah.
It's interesting too because Frank Brothers have that volute on their instruments, so
Hmm.
they're doing that. I wonder, if there is any part of the custom shop where you could order from Gibson and be like, "Can you do that? Can we do a separate head?" It's like I wonder if they even offer that to people if you're getting a custom instrument.
It will be so costly, and I don't think they are doing that because they have their own process. Uh, let's be honest, CNC,
Hmm.
all these instruments, all these big companies, Gibson is building like millions of instruments per year, so they don't have time for that.
Hmm.
And it's, maybe if you order a pure custom shop to Tom Murphy, but I think you need to have the contacts, and they are, it will be super costly,
Right. Yeah. So, well, you would know. You build them. You build guitars, so you would know. Well,
Yeah.
so tell me a little bit about, first of all, so what brought you to Quebec? Like, how did you end up there?
In fact, I'll just put the neck away. Okay, so uh, when so we'll start the story from the beginning. I've When I started to play guitar and all the thing, I was like a Strat guy back in the day. So, and the Stratocaster, you can order parts, you can order neck, you can order bodies, and so I was like, oh wow, it will be cool to build my own guitar. So I started to see, but I didn't have any skills at all. So I was like, okay, uh, I want to learn how to build guitars. It could be cool. Okay. So, but I was like 22 back in the day. So I've started to do some researches. In the US, there are a couple of schools, but I didn't talk English. But I suck in English. Like
No, you
it
don't.
was terrible.
Maybe then, but now you're great, man. I don't speak
Oh,
any
thanks.
other Englishes, so any other languages. So I feel like such a punk when I talk to people who are bilingual. I'm just like, oh man, I wish I had learned another language. But anyway, continue.
And yeah, there are Robert Owen in Arizona, Gallup School in Grand Rapids in Michigan, and maybe others, and in Europe, because I was in France, Newark in England, in London too, a couple, and in France, Litem. It's a school, but it's pretty tricky because you are at school and you need to have to be an apprentice
Mm,
with another luthier. And when we are luthier, we don't have time for that. Or we are like Irvin Somoji, we are like Michael Greenfield, and a couple of other people who need Jeff Trogott, who need someone to work with them because they are building a lot. So it is too complicated. And back in the days, and I think it different now. L10 didn't have a good reputation because it was complicated. We had some friends, and they had some people from L10, and it was not good enough for them. So I was like, okay, I wanted to get out of France because I wanted to discover another country, another culture. And I've seen that Quebec, the National School of Luthier at Quebec City. There's another one called Bruant at Montreal, but I didn't know that back in the days. I didn't know there were two schools. So I tried. I sent the application, and they said okay. And I was not a good student, so it was pretty surprising. So it was not luck, but they needed some people from outside the country because a lot of French students are in this school. So good for me. And I traveled in Canada, in Quebec, in 2009. So I'm in Quebec since August 2009.
Oh,
And
okay.
it's great.
Oh, wow. So you've almost been there for 20 years. That's crazy.
Yep. Yeah.
Wow.
It's
Wow.
insane.
Okay. So like how long is the training, and then do you have to do an apprenticeship after you're done the training in terms of lutherie school?
So in fact, we are following a program. I don't remember. I think after just before the university in the US, is it second grade, third grade?
Well, in the US, so it would be like, your primary school, which is like K through 12. And then like 12 would be like 9 to 12 is your high school.
Okay.
And then college after that.
Okay.
In the US.
Okay. So when you are 16, 17 in the US, it's college, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well,
okay.
Yeah, 17. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it's a graduation when the program is a 3 years program when you are at college and at the school of Luthier. So you need to take some course like philosophy, English, French, all these things, and to have the graduation and to have a diploma that is recognized by the government, in fact. So there are a lot of courses that are super annoying because you just want to build guitars and be at school behind the bench. And let's be honest, when I arrived at the school, nobody in my family was working as craftsman, woodworking. No one. I'm the first. So the first year I missed it, so I did the school in 4 years instead of 3.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because it's you need to sharpen tools, you need to make some joints and you need to learn a lot. And back in the days, I remember the teacher, his name were Serge Hébert. I remember he was super rough.
Oh, okay.
Rough in the sense of super tough. You need to work to pass the course. And he was like, nah, you can't. So but it's but I didn't
Sometimes,
have the skills at all.
Yeah, but look
And
at you now. I mean, it helped you grow, I guess. It's like that age-old thing of like hard teachers, make you grow. So
and in fact the real the day I was like, okay, I want to build acoustic guitars. It was the in French we say déclic, like the day it everything unblocked. It is not a good term, but The day I saw the light, it was
Mm-hmm.
like during the third year. Uh,
Oh, okay.
yep, because I was like, the first instrument we are building is classical guitar. Okay, it's cool, but it's not what I want to do. I want to build electric. Back in the day, it was the goal. And after that, the second instrument we built was a replica of Martin, a dreadnought or an OM.
Mm-hmm.
It was both the choice we've had. And I was like, oh wow, okay, this is cool, because acoustic guitar is the closest thing you have to electric guitar, so I was like, oh wow, okay, it's cool. And the third instrument, we are making our own plan on AutoCAD. And it was during this third instrument, I was like, okay, this is so cool, I want to build acoustic guitars. And because I've discovered a lot of great builder from Canada, uh, and the United States. In the United States, you have Irvin Somoji, you have Michiro Matsuda. Michiro is a luthier. You need to check his work. Matsuda, Matsuda. He is Japanese.
Okay.
But in California, in the Oakland, I think, area, for like decades, he was the first apprentice with Irvin Somoji.
Okay.
And he's like, this guy is first super kind and is a genius.
Mm.
Like, he's not just a builder, he's like a designer, and he's speaking totally differently than us. You need to check that, because it's like, whoa, okay, this is insane. He's
Mm-hmm.
building deconstructed instruments,
Yeah.
like ukuleles or electric or acoustic, or it's much more an archtop than any, well, it's crazy. So I've discovered these people, and I was like, okay, all the stars aligned this day. And after that, I graduated in 2013. And to go back to your question, do you need to do an apprenticeship after the school? I didn't, because my goal, I wanted to build a workshop, and I was good back in the days, but I didn't feel the legitimacy to
Okay.
ask to big builders to ask that, because I was like, oh my god, but if I suck, if I'm not good enough. So I was like, and I when you are doing apprenticeships, it costs money. It costs a lot of money, because
Mm.
you need to rent a room. You are working for the builder. It
Mm-hmm.
is like you work in exchange of knowledge.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. Well, so was that scary at all when you realized that building acoustics was going to be the way you went instead of building electrics? Because the complexity involved in building an acoustic guitar with bracing, with the woods that are used, with like the choice of the top on the guitar and how thin that is to project the sound. Like, were you a little bit like, oh, what am I doing? I'm getting into something that's harder maybe than what I thought, or were you kind of excited by that?
excited, because the challenge is something else. But it is not easier to build an electric instrument. It's not at all. It is just different. Like uh, the scale of difficulty is like electric, acoustic. Acoustic and classical are basically the same thing, but classical is harder, and archtops.
Okay.
Archtops, I couldn't do that. I could build classical. I've built one in my workshop. It was cool, but it's not my my philosophy. And for me, when I'm doing something, it's like I like to push me deep in something. So I've choose acoustic guitar, steel string, but because I wanted to do that and to spend all my time to refine my craft in steel string.
Okay.
Because if you are doing that for electric, steel string, classical, it's like dividing your energy and time in 3 different instruments. But if I needed to build an electric guitar, I will need to be like, okay, I need to take a good look because it's super different. It's not easier than steel string, not at all.
Mhm.
Because you want to build a great instrument, you know, and great electric. There are like many builders. Like what the first one who come to my mind is he's in California. He built guitars for Neil Casal. Very Grateful Deadish instrument, like what's his name? Walker.
I don't know that company.
Yeah, he is a one-man builder. It's not Kim Walker, because Kim Walker is a steel string builder, but it's I don't have his first name, but it's super easy to find. Walker, Walker. His instruments are like insanely good. All carve, and the neck body joint is super Japanese, with pieces of wood inside. He's doing all his parts himself. He is insane.
I'm gonna look this. I'm gonna
Scott
see if I
Walker.
can. I'm gonna see if I can find. Is it just Walker Guitars?
Scott.
Scott.
Scott. Scott Walker.
All right.
And he's one of my favorite builder. Mike Baronic too. Like super unique instrument. But in Canada we have the Frank brothers, Josh Williams. There are tons of builders, of great builders. But yeah, my heroes are like steel string builders, like John Slobod from Sorka Guitars, Burton Logette in the US, Casey Wingert, Jeff Trogott, a lot of people in the US, in Canada too, but it's in Japan too. It's amazing, because wherever you are in France, Europe, Japan, China, wherever you are, it's like super talented people. It's not where you born that count. It is who you are, and it's a great community full of great people. And yeah, I've started my 11th year in the craft, and it's so good. So yeah, building an electric guitar, it will be a challenge, because you need to rethink all the process. In fact, it is the only way.
Are you gonna do it at any point? Are you just like maybe in a few years, after I feel like I've gotten more into the acoustic world, my name out in the world a little bit more?
Yeah, if you've asked me that a couple of years ago, I will be like, nah, I'm not interested. But
you are.
It will be great. It will be great.
I can see it on your face. Well, do you have, so like we've got about 20 minutes left. Let's talk about your instruments. And do you have any like in the process right now that you can show us the wood? Because I know you sent me a picture of all that wood that you got. You're like, I got some prime stuff. But like, is there anything you can show us?
Yeah, in fact, I have 4 right here.
Oh, heck yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, so
pick out your favorite and tell me. Well, it doesn't have to be your favorite, but pick out something that you're like really enjoying working on right now.
This one. So,
oh man.
Yeah. So it's a cutaway guitar. So the challenge is to make a bracing pattern that will fit, because all this area, you need to change everything. All the block inside, you need to change your way to build, because if I'm taking a full body guitar, you have a bar here. Yeah, but you need to change the way it will fit. It's super complicated, and you need to do a lot of,
Oh man.
yeah, all the, we are calling that meters, all the the way it is jointing. You need
Yeah.
to work with your chisel to do all the things, and there are like 16 of them everywhere. It's like, so
First of all, the wood. What's the what? What is the wood on the back of that?
it's called Sacha rosewood. In fact, the name is Higuerelia. It's a wood from Peru, and Peru is not exporting their wood anymore. This stuff is super rare, and it looks like a Madagascar rosewood, in fact, but it's more like, when you are working with it, it's more like a mahogany, but harder than that.
Oh
Uh,
wow.
so it's alternative wood, and I don't know if you know that, but there are a lot of um, how could I say that? You need paperwork to export wood right now,
Yeah.
especially rosewoods. We are not talking about Brazilian rosewood because it's something totally unique and different. But East Indian rosewood, Madagascar, Honduran, Panama, all the rosewood, you need paperwork. But if you are building, if you already have the wood before the paperwork thing, it's called CITES. It is a legislation. CITES is taking care of every animal, plant species on the planet. So elephant tusk, Brazilian rosewood, it is the same thing. Tortoise, turtle things, it is CITES. So you need to do paperwork, but if you already have rosewood right now, you can build a guitar or lamp or table, finish it, and sell it as a finished product, and no paperwork at all.
Right.
So back in the days in 2016, they were like, okay, you need paperwork for every rosewood on the planet. You need that. But even if you've already had the wood.
Okay.
And we've had like a couple of weeks to be in line and to send all the pictures, all the invoices. It's insane because especially the old builders, we are trading woods between
Okay.
builders. So I know some colleagues in France, like Pierre Brua in the south of France. He was like, yeah, I have this piece of Madagascar and I don't have invoice because it was a gift from a builder. How could you do that? It's
Right.
impossible. So, and it was tons of paperwork and work for people in the CITES. They were not ready. So in 2019, they were like, okay, exceptionally, we are coming back to our decision. And right now, if you have these woods, you can build a guitar and no paperwork if it is a finished product.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Man.
yeah, and the wood is Sitka spruce
Oh yeah.
from Canada. Yeah.
It looks nice. What's how deep is that guitar? That looks like a very deep instrument, man.
Yeah, it's maybe 115, I think,
Just
something
like
like that. Yeah.
comparatively speaking, like this guitar is pretty cool. I mean, this is not that deep, I don't think.
Yeah, this one, for example, it's an double O, so it's I think I can.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That is much thinner. Okay. So is that so the deeper body, is that something that your client requested? Is that something that you were like, well, this is what I'm offering, this is what we can do? Like what was the choice there?
So it's a dreadnought model. So dreadnought, you want a boomy sound. You know how it is. I
Hmm.
think it was a dreadnought when Martin designed it. It was to kill a banjo killer guitar.
Right.
I think
I remember hearing that.
because back in the days, so many people in the orchestra. It was like a crazy. So you when you are building guitars as luthier, you can build you can design your own shape. So the only trouble it bring to you is to find the good case.
Right.
It is a nightmare, honestly.
I bet you have to custom make a case, man.
Yeah, like coffee, but it will cost you an arm. So you need all the customer will pay for that. So it's good.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
and in fact, my vision about that is I won't build a dreadnought if I've choose two different woods, because some wood are much dense and they will give you a, like if you take mahogany and rosewood, you know how different it is. So um, a guitar, you have a top, you have a back, and when you are playing the guitar, the top and back will move, in fact, because you have the bridge on the top, and this is what will give you the movement, in fact. So you have inside of the guitar, you have the air volume that will move and get out from the rosette hole, the sound hole. So my vision is to play with this air volume and to decide to build a guitar depending of this air volume and the wood I'll choose, depending what my customer wants. But these four guitars are for a dealer in Hong Kong, Guitar Sofa, and they've ordered these guitars at the same time, and they were like, okay, you can do whatever you want. We trust you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So when I've designed the dreadnought, in fact, it was the first dreadnought I've built since my last guitar at school. It was a dreadnought too. So it was like, okay, I will read my old notes again I took at school, and to be like, okay, what could I do to have the best result possible? And Irvin Sumoji, the great builder, is building responsive guitars. This is my philosophy. He wrote a great book, The Responsive Guitar. It's costly, but it is such a great book. And you can understand the book even if you are not a builder.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which is not the same for every kind of book. So when I've discovered Irvin's work, I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to build a guitar. If you are playing my instrument in finger picking or flat picking, you'll have a great result. But if you are playing finger picking, it will be the best, because I'm thinking, okay, I want my instrument to be played like that. And the gauge, the string gauge, it is a big. I think it is one of the main criteria.
Oh,
If
okay.
someone is coming to me and asks me, okay, I want you to build a guitar, my first question is, okay, do you play light, medium, or heavy gauge? Because it will be totally different. If you are playing a guitar built, I'm building for medium. I think it's 1346, something like that. If I have had to build a guitar with a heavier gauge, I would calibrate my pieces of wood way thicker. Because if you buy one of my guitar and you are changing the light gauge, the gauge of string, that won't do it, because you can screw the instrument.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
because even the nut and saddle, it is calibrated for medium.
Okay. Is that
Yeah,
what you
so
generally ship with? Like, if you're building a guitar, you're generally building it for like medium gauge
yeah,
strings? Okay. Okay.
yeah.
It's interesting. It's
No, excuse me, I'm so silly. It is light gauge.
light gauge strings.
Yeah,
Okay.
not medium. You can play my instrument in medium. It won't be an issue. But ask me before, because maybe I've built this guitar. Like I will make it short, but when you are the reason why, um, if you are going in a shop, a guitar shop, and you take 10 guitars, electric or acoustic, but acoustic it's like much more like, okay, this is this thing. Uh, a piece of wood is growing and it will have a thickness, like a range of thickness, but depending the species, it will be higher, or the, the window to work in terms of thickness will be more or less higher, depending the wood species, depending the piece of wood you have in your hands. So in the industry, Gibson, Martin, I'm not talking about Bourgeois, about Santa Cruz, because they are like luthier instrument. It's like semi-industrial, but
Mm-hmm.
they are amazing. I love Santa Cruz. I love Bourgeois. All these guys, Collings, insane instruments.
Have you ever played a Maton guitar, a Maton acoustic from Australia?
Martin?
No, Maton, Maton.
Oh, Australian?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Never.
I just got one. In September or August, I bought one because I was looking for this guitar was my grandfather's guitar that I had rebraced
Oh,
by Scott Baxendale. Do you know who that is?
yes.
So he rebraced this, and this thing is like, I don't take it out of the house anymore. I just take it to the studio when I record acoustics. But the Maton I wanted for playing in bars and pubs and stuff, and my friend told me, like, dude, they play just like, because I had a Taylor 714 for years that I loved, and I put so many miles on that instrument. But you know how you get the itch, you're just like, I just want something new, whatever.
Yeah.
So I sold the Taylor. As soon as I got this acoustic back, Scott was like, you're going to sell the Taylor immediately as soon as you play this guitar. Nobody wanted it to leave the shop. Everybody wanted you to sell it to us.
Nice.
And I was like, no, that's my grandfather's guitar. So anyway, it came to me and I played it, and I was like, oh man, this thing sounds like a cannon. It just like projects like crazy. And he put a K&K pickup in it. And that sounds amazing too. But when I played it on a gig one night, I was like, oh my God, this neck is so beefy that by the time I was done that gig, I felt like I was immediately going to have arthritis. Like I was just like, oh my God, it was so hard to play. Because I played for 3 hours, like when I'm doing an acoustic gig by myself. So then I got the Maton, and man, I'm telling you, for a performing, bar solo acoustic kind of person like what I do, it is one of the easiest guitars to play, and it sounds amazing. And the body is really small on it. Surprisingly small. Like if you picked it up, you'd be like, oh, wow, this is like way smaller than I would have expected. But there's some magic in that guitar. The pickup system alone and whatever their proprietary stuff is so good.
They are one of the best on the market for their preamp and mics, and Maton is amazing. But I'll make it short to come back to the go in a guitar store. You take 10 guitars, 2 of them will be exceptional, 3 will be great, other 3 will be passable, and the last one will be terrible. Because
yeah, I know
in the industry, they are calibrating all their pieces of wood at the same thickness. It is like that because they studied which is the best in terms of, okay, we don't want to have any deformation, any cracks. We will build it thicker to avoid. It is the reason why Martin changed the place of the X in 53, I think, something like that, because there were too many people who are like, okay, I want to put like heavy strings on it, and it will screw everything. So, and it's like that. But as luthiers, we are calibrating every piece of wood depending like the gauge of string, and depending the feeling, what we want, the weight, everything. So if you are ordering a guitar to one of my mates and me, or any great company like Santa Cruz is not working like, okay, we will put everything at like 3 millimeters for the top. No, they are taking time to do what is the best for their instruments, because I visit Santa Cruz with all the team when I was in California in 2016, because there were a guitar show where I exhibit my instruments. And Richard Hoover and all the team were like super kind, and I've seen all the way they were working. But so basically, it's like a big company full of luthiers, and they are working on tons of instruments at super nice cost. So Maton, I think they are, and Maton is a great company, and I think they are doing that properly. So yeah, there are so many great companies and great guitar builders these days. It's like the golden era, and it's the same thing for amps, for pedals, for electric guitars. It's super. It's amazing to live in this era, and yeah, I couldn't be happier than today.
Sounds like you're keeping busy. So, and BV is moderating the chat, and just I wanted to pop up your website. So for people who are listening on Apple and Spotify, Benjamin Paldacci Guitars.com. That's PALDACCI Guitars.com. Make sure you head over there. Instagram, you can find them on there too. It's all there.
Yep.
And then BV also put up some French on here. I don't know what this says, but maybe you can.
I've lived in Évian-les-Bains, near Genève, when I was a teenager in 1999 and 20. So I know the town and the region, and but just before we end, I started an instrument because after the 4 guitars to Hong Kong, I won't have anything. So it's a Brazilian Madagascar rosewood.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yep.
Wow.
And
oh man,
nice blue rosettes.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, your attention to detail your attention to detail is so nice on these instruments. I mean, even that last guitar that you were showing me with like how you did the binding on it, it's so subtle and so classic, but yet it looks beautiful. That's amazing, man. All right, let's do the lightning round get down, because I don't want to hold you up for too long. So this is the thing where I put on the metronome. I'm going to ask you 10 questions.
Okay.
And then these 10 questions are kind of rapid fire. Feel free, if you'd like, you can explain your answers. If you don't want to explain your answers, you do not have to do that.
Great. I love that.
First one is always the same. Lennon or McCartney?
I think Lennon.
Okay.
Yeah, I love McCartney, but Lennon with Imagine, and but McCartney is super. Yeah, Joker.
you can keep with Lennon. It's
fine. Yeah, but let's right now McCartney, because his band with Rusty Anderson and all it's insane. So good.
Yep. Rosewood or ebony fingerboard?
Rosewood.
Okay. Sunrise or sunset?
Sunrise with a great tea.
There you go. It's gonna be fun. James Taylor or Bob Dylan?
Bob Dylan.
Coffee or tea?
Tea.
Dreadnought or OM?
OM, because I love small body guitars. It's like double OM, Grand Auditorium too, but the electric Spanish I had from Heritage, it was too big for me.
Oh, it was.
Yeah, okay. And since that day, I was like, nah, I don't want a big guitar. You can build small guitars and make it sound louder than a Dreadnought.
Man, it's so interesting. Yeah. That's so interesting. We might have to do a part 2 at some point, because I want to hear more. About that.
Anytime.
Les Paul or SG?
Les Paul. Oh no, excuse me. SG, because right now I'm in direct talk. I'm listening Derek and Susan like for a couple of years, but for a couple of months right now it's like the dope. So yeah, SG.
Good man. Man, I got to meet Derek. I've got to meet him twice. And
Oh,
the first time I met him, because one of my friends is in the Tedeschi Trucks band, he's the keyboardist in the band.
no way.
And I went backstage maybe 3 years ago, and got to meet. He brought him over, like brought Derek over, and was like, "This is Mark. He's a guitar player. He loves you." Blah blah blah. He could not have been a nicer human being, and like he talked to me for like 10 minutes. And I had an Ariel Posen shirt on, and he was like, "Oh, look at that guitar!" And it was Ariel's Mockingbird, and I was like, "Oh, do you know about this company, Josh Williams?" And he was like, "No, I don't know what." So like we had a whole. It was awesome. So always meet your heroes, is what I'm trying to say.
But your friend is because I don't remember the name of the keyboardist and flutist who passed away.
Kofi. Yeah, Kofi passed away. Gabe Dixon is now the keyboard player. Yep.
Okay.
If you haven't listened to his music, his solo music, it's really good. Listen to the Gabe Dixon stuff. It's really, really good. If you like Joey and Ariel and all, you would love the Gabe too.
Perfect. I'll check this out.
Overdrive or Fuzz?
Fuzz.
All right, you are on death row in prison. You get one last meal. What meal do you eat?
Oh, I think my dad is cooking a great meal. You take some duck. In French, it's magret. You know the part of duck who is chewy and with a big, thick piece of
like the fatty part of the duck.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
I've never had
it.
duck. To be honest, I've never had duck, so I have no clue what it tastes like. So
nice.
Anyway.
Yeah, and I think that with it's a French dish, so I don't have the words for that. But yeah, so some duck. Yes. Oh, let's say poutine, a duck poutine.
Okay. So Canadian of you.
Yeah.
All right, cool, Benjamin. This is the last one. If you could take one album and erase it from your memory, just so you can go back and listen to it for the first time again, what album would that be?
Can I say 2 albums?
Sure.
Okay. Blood Sugar Sex Magic of the Red Hot. Yeah, and Pink Floyd, The Dark Side.
Man, Pink Floyd reigns, Dark Side in particular, but Pink Floyd reigns supreme on that question.
Yeah.
So many people have said Pink Floyd records. Why those 2 records for you?
Because they are just too good.
Easy enough. Well said. Man, all right. Well, Benjamin, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me. I'm so glad we could reschedule this. And everybody, go online, go into Instagram, check out Paldacci Guitars, and you want to see these instruments kind of up close, because you do some nice pictures and stuff in Instagram where people can really see things. But your instruments are, when we talk about works of art, like functional art, I should say.
Thank you.
That's the thing that I've appreciated more and more in my life, is the older I get in terms of how guitars are functional art, because it really is something special when you can take pieces of wood and create something out of nothing, and make beautiful music with it. And I think, your guitars are no exception in terms of what is available for people to purchase out there in the world. So thank you for sharing your story with me. Appreciate it.
Thanks for doing what you do. Your podcast is awesome, and I've seen Adam Bushwald. I didn't know you were doing some interviews of luthier. I think Adam is the first one. Am I right?
I think, who else have I had on that's luthier? He might have been.
So I've seen that, and I was like, "Hey, Mark, can you?" And you were like, "Yeah, sure, dude. Yeah, come on in."
Yeah, no, so much. I love talking to everybody, man. I think there's so much for me to learn as a human, but as a musician too. I feel like there's so much more I can learn about, what you guys do and what makes it so fun for me to pick up these instruments and play them, because that makes a difference to me. I like to know the story behind, like, the blood and the sweat and the tears that go into doing this stuff. Hopefully at some point, because I'm a Maryland boy, trying to get Paul Reed Smith to come on and talk to me. But awesome. I honestly don't want to talk to him about PRS. I want to talk to him about what he does as a producer. He's such a huge sound like geek. And I want to like dig into what he does with sound and how that is interpreted in terms of his instruments, but like he's really into recording and engineering and all that stuff. So I want to talk to him about that. I think he would have more fun because it's not the typical questions he would have, you know, to answer. But I need to get some more luthiers on here. I think it's an interesting topic, and guitar players like to know how these things are built. So
yep. And
great.
well, I'm available if you want to do a second episode.
Yeah, maybe next season we can have you come back in the fall at some time, and we can kind of maybe you can walk us through like the process of like how long it takes you to build these, because people need to know that too, because that's reflected in the price. You got one person bending this wood and building this wood and finding all the tonal qualities of these pieces that you're choosing to build the instrument out of. So maybe we could do that, where you can walk us through the process.
Sure.
That would be super
pleasure.
fun. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mark.
No problem.
Continue what you're doing because it's so great.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. You can hang out one sec, Benjamin. Everybody else, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and we will see you next time.